Next technique, repeating mace. All motion is composed of two parts. Remember what those parts are? Lines and circles. There's linear and circular motion. That's it. Now you can have different geometric patterns of motion, but whatever the pattern you're looking at, it's composed of lines and circles. Those are the fundamental components that all motion is made up of. So now we're going to look at circular motion. And circular motion is pretty cool because there's certain things that you can do with it. Okay? When you're on a circle, you can choose to switch to a line. But if we stay in circular motion, we have a few options as well. If you're on a circular orbit, you can stay on that orbit in the same direction, or you can reverse direction. You could also switch orbits, but let's work on reversing direction. That's what repeating mace is showing us. So he's going to do a push. Just be careful of the microphone. You can push. This particular technique could be, it's a left push, and it could be a cross push or a push to the center of the chest. It's not, however, it would not be a straight push to the shoulder directly across. So when he's pushing here, here's our initial defense is a reverse parry. Okay, and it's got to be quick. Now, there's a few different ways I've seen this technique taught. But as we do our reverse parry, this hand comes over it. We have what we call a hooking check or a waiter's check. And watch my foot. Let's move this way, make sure we get that. As he's pushing, this foot is crossed diagonal this way, and I'm on the ball of my foot so that from here I can unwind. My stance right now is spring-loaded. Okay? That's where you're going to get a lot of power. And that's a lesson that we apply to a couple other techniques. I think I'm going to, if we do have time, I'm going to give you a technique we haven't done before to wrap up class. But for now, I do my reverse parry. Now this hand is on circular, it's on a circular path coming in. And there's different strikes people like to use. I prefer using a middle knuckle strike because we have our circular motion, but we can also get good penetration into the kidney. You could rupture the kidney with this strike. So from here, we strike across, okay? And now we back fist. Okay, let's change sides. Let's come over here. So as he pushes, I parry here. This strike comes in. Now you can see from here, I'm traveling on a what? A circle. And now I'm going to reverse action, okay? Back along that circular path. Okay, let's come back on this side. Come in with the push. I parry. Here's our knuckle, strike, and back fist. There's a kick. I don't care about that right now. I just want to work on the hands. All right, grab your partner, work on it. The footwork. Footwork's giving people problems, okay? Don't do this and then turn here. You're not at a good angle for this. You're not set up right. I want you guys to step back a little. Again, I'm on the ball of my foot. My stance is spring-loaded. Now I can come across, and this can catch him, and then we come back with our back fist. Okay? So I've wound up here, and now my waist is engaged as well on its return trip. Okay? But watch that footwork. We've been doing this technique for a couple weeks now. It's not, you're not stepping to 3 o'clock. You're stepping back to about 4:30. So as he pushes, I'm stepping back this way, and now when I unwind, I'm in a fighting position 45 degrees. I have that check in place too. I don't want it down here, collapse that elbow. If he closes the distance, you know, he push drags in, he's got me with that elbow. I want a good check. 1, 2. And then you could actually come back over, check the arm down, and then loop down with a roundhouse kick, looping overhead roundhouse to the back of the knee is the end of the technique, then just cross out. But watch the footwork, okay? Get back to work. Okay, so now we know repeating mace. We know that we can travel on a circle. We can reverse direction on that circle. Now the next lesson is one we've looked at before. When you're on a circle, you can also switch weapons. Okay, and in this case, I'm just going to tell you, hey, let's look at if we can do this with the hand, can we do it with the elbow? So he's going to do a straight punch. We're changing our technique a little. I'm going to step out and block, and now we're going to do repeating mace. I'm going to move in. I'm going to catch him with an elbow to the ribs. But it's not a thrusting. It's not going to crush through this way. It's certainly going to have a little bit of impact. I am going to penetrate into the ribs a little, but I'm going to glance off and repeat. And then we have repeating mace with the elbow. Okay, so he punches, block, and then I push drag in to maximize my mass. 1, and then 2. Okay, and now from here, I'm going to come over, and we're going to strike down, and I'm checking the arm, and we'll turn around in a second so you can see that from a different angle. And I'm going to strike up into the throat. Okay, let's turn around. Punch, block, I catch him in the ribs. Roundhouse elbow, glance off, elbow to the kidney. Now this is checking the arm down. It's a frictional pull, but it doesn't just have to be to the arm. If I expand my circle, I can have multiple points of contact. I can strike him in the face, deflect down, get my check here, and then come right back up into the throat. And what do we have again? Well, we start the technique 1, 2, and then as I come down and then up, I'm doing repeating mace again, aren't I? I'm traveling on a circle, and I reverse direction. I catch him in the throat. So there's your technique. It's a pretty cool one. Okay, step back. Good. Step in with a punch. I step out and I block. Make sure you're above the elbow. Now from here, I project in, catch him with the elbow, come back, strike down the arm, and then come right back in. Try that. We'll see if we have time. I have one other technique I wanted to give you. This should be pretty straightforward. It's just taking the pattern that we already have, and we're doing it twice in this technique. Once with the elbow, and then once with the arm. Kind of a crane strike, and the circle now is on this angle, on this plane. Okay? All right, try it. This part is a favorite of Zach's. I'm going to show you a couple other ways you can do it, or one other way for now. So here's the technique. Straight punch, which, by the way, here's another thing somebody stumbled into. Instead of stepping in with the elbow, using a push drag, they did a pivot or step through, and hey, that can lead us into another technique. That is an option. You can reformulate it. Now you can have I can break the leg down here as I elbow. Different technique though, for a different time, but it's pretty cool how sometimes by accident you guys stumble into advanced techniques or alternate techniques. Okay, so from my block, I catch him here, 1 and then 2. Well, we could insert this hand here as an eye hook, and I'm just going to grab his nose, and I could be pulling back. And that's also a mechanism when you start to study some of the more subtle movements that you can do. That's another mechanism of transferring power into the technique. That sort of action, that expansion and contraction that I'm getting of my chest. So we can have this. Now this I can still strike and I can check down, but this hand can actually round the corner so that now it's kind of on a different orbit. Instead of repeating mace, we're using a little bit more of a figure 8 pattern in there. Okay, and let's turn this way so you can see that hand. So he punches, I block, 1. Now this would be an eye hook, and I might elevate this a little to strike and catch him like right beneath the shoulder blade area. And now I come down here, and then this comes right back around into the throat. And if you want, you can adapt this whole technique into another situation. If he does a double wrist grab, 2-hand grab. Okay, actually, let go with this hand for a second. We have an escape. We can turn, okay, grab. We can turn and escape. Now, if he grabs with both hands, I can do the same movement. Well, if you like this pattern, which I know you do, I can, and we'll change sides again now that we're going to insert that pattern, I could step and then strike. Okay, that's the same pattern, isn't it? He grabs, 1, 2. We have a problem. If he's quicker than me, 1, and now he comes back and hits me or blocks, right? At this point, I've escaped his grab. He's not just going to stand there, so I should do what? I should check his hands. Let's come this way just a little. Okay, so when he grabs a hold of me, I might check his hands there and strike. Okay, we can make this more sophisticated. Now we know that there's a check in place. This hand could come in and strike. It might even punch. There's different ways we could do this. So what was our technique again? I'm just referencing the technique we started with. 1, 2, right? It was this pattern. If we expand that circle, I can catch him here, check the arms down, and then strike to the throat. And we have the same pattern being used off of a grab there. Or I gave you an alternate ending here. how this can round the corner and come back in a linear fashion, like a shuto to the side of the neck instead of a ridge hand. So now I strike here, and I come in with my shuto. Okay? So same technique adapted to a different situation, and you see how those circles can work together. They can deal with a lot. Try that one. I know you guys want more, so let's do an ending here. There's another technique that we can insert in this. From here, how many of you know your first combination? If he throws a punch, we have, throw a little higher, we have this double block that's in place. If we reverse that, you should be able to do it both ways. So if you can do this, take any pattern that you have. Okay, leave that. Take any pattern that you have and look at the orbit. So if you have, this is nothing more than circular motion on a vertical orbit. Now tip it over. Can you do it on a horizontal orbit? So if he grabs me and we have our initial technique that we started with, from here I could come in and rake or eye hook and chop. So now we have a strike this way. We've turned it in what was a defensive model when we learned it at the beginning of our training. We've turned it into an offensive one. It's just a matter of taking any circular motion and expand your orbit, and you get offense. If you contract, you get defense. And if you're lucky, you can use that same principle to turn your defense into an offense. Okay, so if we're here, this would strike, check. This hand would be in play as well. Strike, and then come back. And you might do that on your cross out. Try it, and then we're done.